My fiancé lived rent-free in my home for 6 months, and after I disclosed my inheritance, he insisted I purchase a house in both our names without contributing, giving me an ultimatum. I ended the engagement. My fiancé, Tom 37M, and I 28F were together for 2 years. He moved into my place 6 months ago and proposed a month ago. I thought our relationship was strong, but now I'm second-guessing everything. 3 years ago, I inherited a significant sum that transformed my life. I live modestly, work part-time as an educator, travel, and am planning a nonprofit. I manage my finances carefully to ensure the money lasts. Only my father and sister know the full extent of my wealth. When Tom moved in, I covered all household expenses except most groceries. Tom wanted us to buy a larger home eventually so his father could live with us. I wasn't comfortable with in-laws living in our home, but suggested a separate living space in the future. He resisted, but agreed we needed to discuss our finances first. Tom earns $10,000 monthly and has $100,000 saved. I have millions invested, generating about $40,000 monthly. When I shared this, he was stunned. He argued that since I have so much wealth, I should buy the house and cover all costs. I explained that having the means doesn't mean I should solely fund everything. I suggested keeping our finances separate with a shared account for joint expenses, split proportionally based on income. I also mentioned wanting a prenup. That's when things escalated. He insisted we be equal partners, meaning I buy the house and put it in both our names, even if he contributes nothing. We argued for days. Eventually, he issued an ultimatum. I buy the house, we each own 50%, he'd sign the prenup or we're done. I asked if that meant breaking up if I refused. He hesitated but confirmed it did, so I ended it. I removed the engagement ring, told him it was over, and asked him to move out. He backpedaled, claiming he didn't want to end things, just wanted me to agree. He accused me of ruining our relationship over money. I countered that he ruined it by demanding I fund our lifestyle and claim half my assets, which I carefully protect. Now I'm wondering if I destroyed my relationship. I love him, but I don't think it's fair to financially support a grown man or accept ultimatums about my wealth. Comment 1, where Op replied, "The first mistake you made was revealing the exact amount of your wealth. Even if you stay together and marry, he'll always be fixated on that money, scheming to get as much as possible. People need to stop oversharing. You had to disclose some details, but he didn't need to know the full extent. Men can be just as greedy as women. If a woman learns a man has wealth, she might obsess over getting it. Men are no different. Breaking up was likely the right call because your marriage would revolve around money." Op's response, "I agree. I usually keep my finances private, but since we were engaged, I thought transparency was fair for both of us to understand our financial standing. I see now it might have been a mistake, but at the time, I genuinely believed it was the right move for our relationship." Comment 2, where Op replied, "Disclosing finances before marriage was the right thing. Marriage brings legal and financial ties, so you need to be open about your situation. Sadly, large sums of money can make good people act irrationally. I inherited money too, and thankfully my spouse is honorable and reasonable, the love of my life with no greed or ultimatums. I'm sorry you went through this, Op. Your fiancé revealed his true character, greed. You're not wrong to protect yourself from a lifetime of him valuing your money over you. Best of luck." Op's response, "When we started dating, he understandably asked how I afforded my lifestyle on a teacher's salary. I explained I had a modest inheritance that let me buy my house and have some savings. I may have been wrong to be vague, but early in our relationship, I wasn't ready to share everything. My house is comfortable but not lavish. During our relationship, we split expenses like dates and trips 50-50. When he moved in, I covered utilities since I was already paying them, and he handled groceries. Things were fine until after the engagement. I pushed for open financial discussions before marriage, and we agreed on most things. Regarding his father moving in, it's not immediate, but Tom wants to care for him eventually. I like his dad, but I don't want in-laws living with us. His solution was buying a bigger house together so it would feel like our home, not just mine. I understood, but a larger house for his dad to move in wasn't something I wanted. Initially, we planned to contribute together for a new house, but when we discussed what we could afford, we had to reveal our finances. When he learned my net worth, his attitude changed. He said splitting 50-50 wouldn't get us a bigger house, and since I could afford it, I should buy it, but it would be ours. I said his share of the house would match his contribution. I might have been naive, but I never saw signs of him being after my money. He never pushed me to pay for things and always split costs fairly. That's why this shift shocked me. Right now, I'm in my bedroom and he's in the guest room. I told him he needs to move out tomorrow. We haven't spoken since. Thanks for the support, it means a lot. Update 1, thank you for the overwhelming support and comments. This morning, Tom made breakfast and asked to talk. He said things spiraled last night and wanted to share his perspective. He was upset I hadn't been fully open about my finances, feeling I didn't trust him. He said the wealth gap made him worry I'd always hold more power, leaving him vulnerable to financial control. He insisted he doesn't care about my money, but wanted to feel I'd prioritize him over wealth. He admitted his ultimatum was wrong and poorly handled, saying he felt frustrated and lost. He emphasized his father moving in eventually as a priority because they're close, and he wants to care for him as he ages. He apologized, said he didn't want to lose me, and agreed to my terms. I apologized for not being upfront about my inheritance, but said I wasn't sure I could continue. His reaction felt entitled and manipulative, and I worry it shows his true self. I told him I love him, but I'm concerned money will always be an issue. If he's pushing for a house now, what else might he demand later? I said I'd only consider moving forward if he agreed to. 1. A strict prenup ensuring he leaves a divorce with only what he contributed. 2. Buying a house together, with his equity matching his contribution. 3. Options like a guest house or nearby condo for his father, not living with us. 4. Joint counseling. I also suggested a joint account for shared expenses, contributing proportionally to income while keeping personal accounts separate. He agreed to everything, but I said I'm unsure if I can trust him and need time. He's staying at a hotel for a few days to give us space. I'm torn. Part of me understands he might have overreacted, but I fear ignoring his behavior could lead to bigger issues. I'd appreciate advice on what to do next. Comment 1 where Op replied, "Change your locks while he's at the hotel, seriously. He's shown he's untrustworthy. If he has a sick family member, he and his family should handle it. Involving someone you've lived with for 6 months in this is odd, inconsiderate, and pushy." Op's response, "Thanks for the advice. I'm getting a locksmith to change the locks as a precaution. We've been together 2 years, but only living together for 6 months. Comment 2, where Op replied, "Don't move another man into your home again. I know you were engaged, but next time, date someone who owns their own home or has equity. This guy claims to have savings but doesn't own property. He saw your nice house and thought he could marry you, sell it, buy a bigger one and co-own it. A new house after marriage becomes marital property. Don't repeat this. Date someone who shares your financial values, not necessarily your wealth level, but who's invested in a home. The age gap is a concern too. He's 37 with no property? That's a red flag. His dad, likely in his 60s, may not need to move in for decades. My 86-year-old friend, a cancer survivor, lives independently. Find someone 30 to 32 who shares your values, like someone who'd keep working even if they won the lottery, a teacher, doctor, or scientist. Look for shared values, not just wealth. Update 2. Thank you for the continued support. After reflecting, talking to my sister, therapist, and lawyers, I've decided. As much as I cared for Tom, I can't marry someone I don't trust. His actions broke that trust, and I'd always question his motives. Every financial decision would be tainted, and that's no way to build a life. I invited Tom over and told him my decision. He admitted his mistakes and suggested counseling, but I said we're done. I agreed to counseling only to explore if reconciliation is possible, but I feel it's delaying the inevitable. I had packed his belongings, which hurt him, and that was tough for me too, but I stood firm. He took his things and is finding a new place. This has been exhausting and painful, but I know it's right. Thank you for the advice and encouragement. It helped me reach this point. For those worried about Tom being homeless, don't be. He earns well, and we live in a tourist city where he stayed in hotels and short-term rentals before moving in. He hasn't paid rent here for 6 months and will be fine. Next story. My boyfriend's female friend FaceTimed him late at night while drunk on a beach trip with other women. When he said I was there, they apologized, claiming they meant to call someone else. My boyfriend, Nick 22M, and I, 20F, have been together for 3 years. He's kind, caring, and I've never had serious doubts until last night. As mentioned, his friend M FaceTimed him while I was at my place. M has known Nick much longer as they grew up together, so I've always respected their bond. I've met M several times. She's always been friendly, fun, and we follow each other online. I had no reason to dislike her or their friendship, so her calling late didn't initially concern me. Nick mentioned M was on a beach trip with 3 other women. For context, Nick is 2 years older than me. M and her 3 friends, aged 22 to 23, went to school with Nick, possibly since middle school. They've known he's been with me for 3 years as they all follow me online. I've met these women a few times, but Nick is closer to M than the others, though they're all friendly due to their shared history. Nick told me M was calling and mentioned the beach trip. I encouraged him to answer, thinking they were just excited to share their fun. He picked up, and M and her friends immediately shouted his name, then yelled, "Show us your big D***CK?" They were clearly intoxicated, and I was horrified. Nick seemed shocked too, told them I was there, and asked what that was about. They offered mixed excuses. They were drunk, it was a mistake, they meant to call someone else. I'm struggling because I'm so confused and upset. I don't blame Nick, as this wasn't his fault, but I don't understand why these women, adults, thought this was okay to say to someone in a long-term relationship. It makes no sense. I'm also wondering if Nick has somehow created an environment where they think this behavior is acceptable. I don't believe he'd encourage this, but I'm at a loss. Why did they only stop when he mentioned I was there? I'm also upset with these women. They were always nice to me in person, so their vulgar behavior feels like a betrayal. Their excuses don't hold up. They shouted his name repeatedly, so it wasn't an accident or a wrong call. This happened around 11 p.m., and I fell asleep soon after. This morning, Nick and I briefly discussed it before he left for work. M texted him, saying he was acting weird and that they were just drunk, apologizing to me. That's obvious, but I still don't get why they did it. I've been drunk and never called someone's partner to say something so inappropriate. It doesn't add up. M saying Nick was acting weird bothers me too. How is what the F***CK not a normal reaction unless they're used to him responding differently? I only discussed this with my best friend, who knows Nick through me and might be biased. She thinks they were just wasted and that some women act differently when drunk. She might be right, but I struggle to accept that, especially since they're older than me. I'd expect more maturity. I keep replaying their voices shouting that phrase, and it's haunting me. I want to move past this, but I'm so shaken. Any advice or perspectives would be appreciated. I'm completely lost. Update. Thank you for all the responses. I didn't expect so much feedback, and I appreciate the insights and humor. I don't have a major update. I spoke with Nick and explained why this upset me, especially the lack of a clear explanation from the women. He understood and said we reached a better understanding after talking. He shared that M apologized more the next day, explaining they were extremely drunk and thought it'd be funny to FaceTime their guy friends with that request. Some of you were right. Nick wasn't the only one they called. M said they didn't realize how inappropriate it was until Nick mentioned I was there. Their excuses about it being an accident or a wrong call make more sense now, given how intoxicated they were and that they called multiple guys. M offered to call me to apologize further, but I didn't think it was necessary and wanted to move on. She doesn't have my number anyway. I asked Nick if he'd had any romantic history with M or her friends before me. He said no, and I believe him. We met when he was 19, and he was inexperienced, even insecure about it, so I trust him on this. The other women didn't apologize beyond M's group text. Since I don't know them well and they likely feel awkward, I won't demand apologies, but I'll view them differently and prefer Nick avoid events they're at. No grudges, but their lack of accountability, unlike M, bothers me. If I were in their shoes, I'd apologize for crossing boundaries. To those suggesting Nick might be cheating with M, I doubt it. I've been cheated on before, which I should have mentioned, as it explains why this hit me hard. I don't see any cheating signs in Nick. He and M live hours apart, and we've been together almost constantly due to COVID restrictions in our area. I trust him. Finally, addressing the question some had, yes, my boyfriend is well endowed. Not quite as exaggerated as some comments suggested, but yes, it's notable. Their comment made me even more uncomfortable because of it. When I told Nick this, he laughed, then blushed. Gotta love him.